This is the Angels POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Los Angeles Angels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Oh, this team will be the death of me. It will be the death of us all. Hello, Halo Nation. Hello, Halo hopefuls, and welcome back to the latest edition of the Locked On Angels POSTCAST, coming at you live, as always, after every single Angels game, right here, live on the Locked On Angels YouTube channel, and after the fact, both on the channel and wherever you get the Locked On Angels audio podcast feed. If you don't know who I am, what's going on, everybody? My name is Gavin Carlson, former credentialed journalist in the LA area, and I just realized I've got the wrong background up because there's way too much positivity on that screen right now. It's talked about the stellar series in Philadelphia. I'm getting some technical difficulties here. It's not letting me load up the background that I want to have because it's that negative. There we go. That's more like it. Not a stellar series, an epic collapse on Monday night in New York. The Angels turn a 5-2 lead in the bottom of the seventh inning into a 7-5 loss. And the 5 runs in 2 innings was bad enough. But the way they gave up those runs, the way they blow this game, infuriating, and a not-so-friendly reminder of how average and maybe still below average this Angels team is. I don't know. We'll talk about it. What a frustrating 7-5 loss for our Halos. But shout out to everybody in here. As always, a lot of the familiar faces, a lot of hot takes. The same people that in here yesterday saying this team is going to make the playoffs. They're up here now saying absolutely sell at the deadline. Absolutely atrocious. I'm not surprised. We are fans that are on a roller coaster ride, and I'm sorry, as much as I try to be as level and consistent with my takes and my opinions, I'm not going to blame anybody for following this roller coaster that this team puts us on and continuing to have hot takes, polarizing takes in both directions. But with all that being said, let's jump right into it, and you know where we're going with this one. Let's get to a very frustrated edition of America's favorite segment.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
Yes, the turning point, obviously the bottom of the 7th inning, because at that point, the vibes are fantastic on the West Coast, watching our team on the East Coast continuing to outperform expectations, continuing to look like a team that isn't just average, but maybe above average, maybe a playoff team. Oh, it hurts to even say it. Up 5-2, you've done just about everything right. Tyler Anderson has given you a very above average start. You've gotten solid offensive performances, especially from Taylor Ward, who we will get to. He came through again in the top of the 7th with an RBI single that made it 5-2. And unfortunately, Mike Trout does get thrown out at home to basically kill what would have been an even larger rally in the top of the 7th. But I don't care. You're up 5-2. Some people are going to try to say the turning point is Trout getting thrown out. No, it is not. 5-2 is enough, right? It's enough. The problem is it's not enough when 2 things. 1, your bullpen is horrible. And 2, your defense, the cursed Angels horrible clown show defense that we haven't seen that much this season, it found a way to come back. But we'll get to what the bullpen did wrong, and we'll get to what the defense did wrong, of course. But I want to start, and we're doing a little what you'll be talking about mid-turning point. I want to talk about Ray Montgomery's decision first.
This is what you'll be talking about.
Oh, man. You know how bad you have to be as a manager in your in-game decision-making to make the entire fan base universally agree that you'd rather have Ron Washington. And that's not a shot at Ron Washington. That's just me saying, if any of you were following the conversation online about Ron Washington all first half of this season, really all of last season, it was he's a great culture guy, but maybe the in-game decisions are a little questionable, right? I feel like that's a fair debate to have. But everyone can universally agree he has gotten more in-game decisions right or at least a higher percentage than Ray Montgomery. Because what pisses me off about this Ray Montgomery decision, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's leaving Tyler Anderson in to start the bottom of the 7th inning. Some people are going to come in here saying, oh, you're being a hypocrite. Angels fans are being hypocrites. In other games, they've gotten mad at Montgomery for pulling the starting pitcher too early, for going to the bullpen too early. And now everyone wants to get mad at him for leaving the starting pitcher in. Oh, Monday morning quarterback. Oh, you guys are being inconsistent. No. N-O. Ray Montgomery has had this philosophy of always pulling the starting pitcher too early, always going to the bullpen. And as much as I disagree with it, right? As much as I have disagreed with it really every time he's done it, because almost every time it has not worked out when he's pulled the starting pitcher too early. Maybe once or twice it has worked out. But what is his argument for doing that? It's typically a combination of, and I'm not an analytics hater or anything, but it's typically a combination of analytics or just, what the numbers say, what the plan was coming into the game, and not feel, right? Ray Montgomery has not shown any sort of feel managing in game. There's no feel, right? It seems premeditated. It seems like it's based on stats and analytics, regardless of what's going on, right? But the one time, if you're going to be an analytics guy, or if you're going to be a premeditated decision guy, then damn it, at least stick to it. Dang it, at least stick to it. The one time the guy elects to go feel and go away from his tendencies, go away from his philosophy, is the one time that it feels like you can't do it. And this is not me or you or anybody just saying it because it did not go well. I was listening to the radio broadcast while watching it. And even they who on, the Angels radio, they got to be careful with the criticism they have. They were going, you're leaving Tyler Anderson in to start the 7th? Okay, interesting. But that really isn't the issue. It's when he walks Francisco Alvarez to start the inning for his 5th walk of the ball game. And you leave him in? You leave him in. Right? The thing that I've always said, we said it about Kikuchi in a different recent game, it's, hey, give the starter the chance to start the inning, right? Give him the chance to start the inning. I think that would have been the perfect happy medium. Some people are saying Anderson shouldn't have even come out for the 7th. Some people are saying, give him the first batter. I'm probably leaning towards give him the first batter. I think that's a fair compromise. It makes perfect sense. I think you can do that almost every time, whether you're going with your analytics or your feel, whether it's Kikuchi, who's an ace, or Anderson, who's a 5th guy in the rotation, 4th guy in the rotation type of guy, right? Give him the first batter and see what the vibes are. If he goes strike, okay, maybe he's still feeling it. But he goes from 0-2 to pitching around Alvarez, can't locate the changeup at all. 2 changeups in the dirt, then a fastball way inside, then a changeup in the dirt. None of the pitches were close. None of the 4 balls were close after the first 2 strikes. And by the way, both of the first 2 strikes, neither of them were in the strike zone. So, yes, I get it. Vince, you're absolutely right for saying his pitch count was low. It was a pretty fair decision to give him at least 1 batter. I agree with you there. Again, I am pro giving the guy 1 batter. And maybe I didn't make that clear at the beginning of this rant. I'm sorry. I'm pro giving the guy 1 batter. But when he can't locate a changeup or really that 2-2 fastball, when he can't locate any of that and he walks Alvarez, that's the obvious time to take him out. All right. We gave him 1 chance and he didn't just respond with, a good pitch that was hit for weak contact for a base hit or something. He walked the guy, his 5th walk of the game. That's the sign. It's time for him to be pulled. It's a great start from Tyler Anderson. There's just a guy on first base. No issue. He leaves him in, and he gives up a base hit to Acuna. I get it. It wasn't a terrible pitch. It's a changeup on the outside corner. But the moral of the story is the baseball gods, or just baseball itself, it's going to reward you or penalize you for good or bad decisions. And leaving him in there after the leadoff walk is a decision that no pitcher or manager makes. No competent manager makes. Let alone one that is known for pulling the starter too early. And this time he pulls him way too late. Infuriating. And so finally, I'll get to the turning point. In case you missed it, it was that. But what ensues after that, they then go for Reed Detmers, and Detmers comes in a tough spot. Let's be honest. First and third, nobody out, but you're up 3 runs. So if you're Detmers, you think, okay, tough situation. I'm probably going to give up 1 run here, but let's only make it run 1, right? Would love to see a double play here. You force a double play. You let the run score. It's 5-3 going in the 8th. You've done everything you can, right? But he immediately, 2 pitches into the at-bat, he has a curveball slip out of his hands. He hits Nimmo, and just like that, the bases are juiced for Lindor. Now, ironically here, he does get the double play. Hangs a curveball. Fortunately, it's fouled off. Then throws a beautiful slider on the outside corner. I don't even know if he meant it. Gets the ground ball, and they're so close to doubling up Lindor and getting 2 outs. Unfortunately, they can't get Lindor. Bang, bang play. He is safe. There's only 1 out. And then the thing that people are going to forget in this rally for the Mets is that Lindor steals second base. Lindor stealing second base is massive because then it's 2 runners in scoring position with 1 out. The double play ball is no longer available. And so surely enough, when Soto rips a ground ball on a 1-2 pitch on a sinker, that's not a terrible pitch. That pitch, a sinker at the knees with first and third, could be a double play. But 2 things. 1, you let Lindor steal second, and 2, you're throwing against Juan Soto, one of the best freaking hitters on the planet. And so Soto takes a sinker at the knees, and he's all over it. 108 exit velo. 108 exit velo, ground ball down the right side. Acuna scores, Lindor scores. The game is tied. Now, fortunately, you have to give Detmers credit in the sense that he could have collapsed, and Reed Detmers of the past would have collapsed. Now, Reed Detmers of 2 months ago would have gone 9-pitch immaculate inning to get out of the jam with no runs allowed, right? But Reed Detmers right now, he's no longer the pitcher of a month ago who was absolutely lights out, but he's still not the pitcher of a year ago. He's not absolutely blowing it, right? He ends up getting back-to-back outs, strikes out Pete Alonso, gets Jeff McNeil to ground out, and you go into the 8th inning, tied. Coin flip game. And that's the other issue with these Angels, right? I know it's a running joke about how many times I say coin flip, but the problem is, whether you're winning by a run or losing by a run or 2, the Angels make every game a coin flip. And this is one of the rare games that should not have been. You're up 5-2 in the 7th inning. This should not be a coin flip ball game. And it was. It was. You knocked out their pitcher before the 5th inning. Your pitcher gets all the way into the 7th. This is supposed to be a win. And that's the problem when you are a young, inconsistent ball club, is that you make every game close, whether you're winning or losing, winning by 5 runs, winning by 3 runs, or losing by 3 runs. And ultimately, the coin flip trends, they come back to bite you, right? They come back to bite you. The irony of the 8th inning is that Chris Taylor comes into the ball game, replaces Lamont Wade as an offensive substitution. Not only does he get out, albeit he did hit a decently hard ball, but then he comes in and makes an atrocious play in the 8th inning that contributes to the dagger inning in the bottom of the 8th. A 1-out walk. At this point, Fermin comes in for Detmers in the 8th, gets a line out on Vientos, but then walks Beatty, and then that double to Francisco Alvarez. That really creates all the issues. And then somehow they're calling this a error on Logan O'Hoppe here. No way this is an error on O'Hoppe. It's a horrible throw by Yoan Moncada, and that makes it 6-5 Mets. Then a sac fly from Nimmo makes it 7-5 Mets, and that was all she wrote for our Angels. 3 strikeouts in the 9th against Edwin Diaz. I get it. He's a great closer, but my, oh my, 3 strikeouts. Just a fitting, embarrassing end to a fitting, embarrassing choke job by our Halos tonight to blow that 5-2 lead in the 7th inning. When we come back from this break, we have to not forget to give Taylor Ward his credit. The man has been absolutely unbelievable at the plate. And again, after a loss, now the question on the trade deadline becomes, do you have to trade him? I jokingly posted on Twitter. And again, if you don't follow me right there at Gavin Carlson _ I said, all right, give me that Paul Skeens package for Taylor Ward. I'm ready to see it. But we'll come back with a serious, non-joking take about Taylor Ward. And again, it seems like every night we're going to talk about, is this a buy or sell team? Did we change any of our tunes after this collapse tonight? We'll talk about that after a break here on the Locked On Angels postcast. Man, oh man, I'm so frustrated. I'm so frustrated. The funny thing about the show is I'm all angry, I'm all pissed off, and then I have to come in and have a calm tone while I read these ads. Today's show is brought to you by Supply House. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades. Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400 plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. If you need help with an order, Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free TradeMaster program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the TradeMaster program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. And today's show is also brought to you by FanDuel. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. You're already following the action. Why not make it a little more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. Whenever I'm out of the state of California, I use FanDuel to track my favorite matchups, and the app keeps it fresh with new daily promotions and fun ways to bet. It's easy to use, fast to pay out, and makes even regular season games feel like must-watch events. So if you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. Back here live on an infuriating, frustrating edition of the Locked On Angels postcast. Frustrating because right when this team has us ready to think they're above average, you win 2 out of 3 in Philly, and then you're up 5-2 on the Mets going in the bottom of the 7th inning. You win this game. It's 3 wins out of 4 against the Phillies and the Mets in Philly and New York. And then we're talking about you're 50-50. You've got 2 more against the Mets. If you split those 2, you've got back-to-back series wins in Philly, in New York, going into the biggest 2 weeks of your season, right? Where you have home games against the Mariners, against the Rangers, where that is going to decide what you do at the deadline, right? If you collapse and you lose a majority of those games, it's an easy sell at the deadline. You cash in on a guy like Taylor Ward, who we're going to talk about in 2 seconds, and it's okay. You know, you're still playing 50-50 ball, but it makes it pretty easy to sell. You lose today. You collapse thanks to horrible defending Chris Taylor, Yoan Moncada, horrible decision-making Ray Montgomery, poor bullpen pitching Reed Detmers, Jose Fermin, and now things get cloudy again, right? You're back to 2 games under 500, and I'm not trying to overreact, I promise, but it's hard to not be confused when you look like you are a playoff caliber team, especially offensively in Philly, and then you do what you do. The moral of the story, what I say up here is reminds us that this team is still average for now. And I say for now because it does feel like there's a turning point, no pun intended, in this roller coaster. Eventually something's got to give. You can't keep winning, losing every other night. It's not going to continue that way, right? It surely can't. Eventually, you're going to win 4 in a row, or you're going to lose 4 in a row. It feels like it because on one side of things, this team is competent bullpen pitching, competent late game managing, competent late game fielding away from being an above average team. Because at this point, the offense is consistently getting you, close to, if not well over, double-digit hits in a game. They give you only 9 today, but still only 9 hits, 5 runs only. That's still pretty good, right? So you're consistently getting solid offensive output. The problem is you're also consistently getting the occasional bullpen collapse, the occasional poor fielding or base running at the end of the game, the occasional questionable managing at the end of the game. Something's got to give in either direction, right? It feels like, if it really does feel like this trade deadline is going to determine what direction the Angels take, and that's why it's interesting. You can't absolutely say it's out of the possibility that if this team goes and acquires a bullpen arm or 2 and gets perfectly healthy with Soler and Moncada, right? You get healthy with Christian Moore coming back. It's not out of the ordinary, or it's not out of the possibility, the realm of possibilities, that the Angels actually get better, right? it does feel like they're a bullpen arm or two away, maybe a starting pitcher away as well from being that. At the same time, it does feel like if the Angels do nothing, there's an opportunity that they can still get hot. It also feels like if the Angels do nothing, there's a very real possibility they collapse. They collapse, right? Eventually, you're going to stop hitting home runs every night. Eventually, you're not going to be 19-12 or 19-11 in one-run games. You're going to be closer to 500 in one-run games. Eventually, Reed Detmers, his magic's already running off. Maybe Kenley Jansen's magic runs off. Maybe, dare I say, Kikuchi's magic runs off. And then suddenly this team is terrible, right? Taylor Ward's magic runs off. Mike Trout cools down a bit. Neto cools down a bit. And this team is terrible, right? Everything is available. Everything is available. And that's what makes it so difficult. The one constant right now for the Angels is Taylor Ward. Another 3 RBI performance, 4 straight games with multiple RBIs. He had 8 in the series against the Phillies. He's now up to 11 in the last 4 games. He has the RBI double and the RBI single. Both of his RBIs with 2 outs, or 2 of his RBIs, with 2 outs. That's what's been so impressive. He has 76 ribbies on the season. And so it's really interesting what is going to go on with him and with this team. I said it 2 weeks ago when I did or 3 weeks ago when I did the show with the Super Halo Bros. It felt like this trade deadline is going to be defined by what happens with Taylor Ward. It feels like there's no way you can sell Taylor Ward and not be complete sellers, right? But now at the same time, because of how good he's doing, if he was still just average, you would say maybe there's a justification to keep him. The value you're going to get back is not enough, yada, yada, yada. You don't want to sell a leader in the clubhouse and all this. But with how valuable he suddenly has become, now just like that, you ignore what's going on. If you just look at his stat line, he's got an 800 OPS, guys. That's good enough at the deadline as is. But if you look and use recency bias, the guy's got 1 million OPS in the last 2 weeks, right? So I really feel like there's the only thing I'm certain of, and I know I've been back and forth. I'm still in favor of trading Taylor Ward. I still think I am, because my heart, my gut, it tells me that there are, if you flip the coin 10 times and it feels like this, or if you ran a simulation of the Angels' second half of the season 10 times, how many times are they, saying you keep everybody on the team, saying you make no moves. If you run 10 simulations of this second half of the season, I think the Angels make the playoffs like 2 or 3 out of those 10 times, right? Is that fair to say? There's like a 30% chance that this current Angels team makes the playoffs. I feel like that's a fair judgment. And so if that's the case, I think buying at the deadline gets it to 50-50. There's no way buying at the deadline gets you to above 50% chance, right? So if you're at around 30% chance of making the playoffs right now, in my opinion, the way the roster is currently constructed, you would have to buy to get to 50-50. The much more logical thing to do is sell a guy like Taylor Ward, and you probably only drop from 30 to 20. You're not dropping from 30 to 0. You're still a couple games back to the wild card. You've still got a decent roster, a decent lineup. I'm still in favor of trading Taylor Ward. But the only thing I am absolutely certain of is that if you don't trade Taylor Ward, you probably have to be buyers at the deadline now, because you can't justify not cashing in unless you're going all in on trying to make the playoffs. I am still in favor of, and TJ, I understand, I'm not saying actual odds. I understand that FanGraphs has us below 5%. But what I'm saying is, if you really, I don't know, in my opinion, if you don't get all analytical and if you just really look at things, I'd say it's like a 1 in 3 chance, a little bit below a 1 in 3 chance that the Angels make the playoffs, right? So my thing is, and I'm going to end the show after this. Someone said 0% chance is correct. Hilarious, Jeremy, hilarious. My thing is, I don't think you can justify keeping Taylor Ward unless you go all in. And I think going all in would be irresponsible. So I'm still selling Taylor Ward, and I think the haul you're going to get back is going to be quite fine. And this is going to end up being still a perfect, as ideal of a first half of the season going into the deadline as I think you can have, right? I think if you look at this team coming into the year and you told me you're going to be a couple games under 500, you're going to cash in for Taylor Ward and get a prospect or two, and there's still a chance that then Christian Moore comes in the lineup and you move Rengifo to where Taylor Ward was playing in the outfield, and you're still a team that's not going to have a playoff shot, but be as competitive as you might be right now anyways, I think that's a win. So I see some people in here saying, Gavin, you're delusional. Real Marco Polo said, no buying, Gav. This team can't afford to trade what little they have for a 20% chance at making the wild card. I agree. Nathan rolling his eyes, saying playoff chance. Cat Soup saying there's no point in talking about the playoffs. We're not even going to get close to making it this year. I'm not disagreeing with you guys. What I am saying is the only way now, right? There was a scenario a month ago where the Angels just do nothing at the deadline. Just do nothing. Now, in my opinion, there's no way that you can justify keeping Taylor Ward unless you're buying because of how high his value now is. A month ago, you could say, his value is going to be mid. And so maybe you just keep him and run it back just for the vibes. But now his value is not mid. He's hot. He's attractive. Pause in the trade market. And so you can't keep him unless you're buying, and you shouldn't be buying. So again, all this yapping from me still comes back to the same conclusion. Trade Taylor Ward. I'm sorry. It hurts, but trade Taylor Ward. And I'm not going to stop believing, Larry, that this team can still be decent even with, even with saying trade Taylor Ward. I still think this is a solid baseball team, but they have proven every time they have the opportunity to say they're above average, they collapse. And there's no reason to think that's going to stop unless they were to go buy 3 guys and make the collapsing stop. And I think that's irresponsible. So TJ summarizes by saying he's mostly agreeing with us, y'all. His 30% odds of making it is nuts, though. That's fair. Maybe it's closer to 20%. I don't think it's 4.4%. I'm sorry. I get it. FanGraphs is probably using all the advanced metrics and saying this team's run differential is horrible. They're way too hot in coin flip games, way too lucky right now in one-run games to be sustainable. I agree with all of that. But I also think they're competent managing away, a few non-bullpen collapses away from being 5-6 games over 500. So I love the debates. I love the conversation. And the one thing I will say before I wrap this extremely long show up is it's fun that we're getting to have these conversations, because last year the debates were, do you sell 5 guys or do you sell 8? So solid that we have come far from that. And now it's, do you sell 1 or 2 guys for really good prospects? So I agree with Kura. The stats are looking real good for Taylor Ward. There's really an opportunity to cash in. There's an opportunity. So with all that being said, we're going to wrap this one up. It's a fun conversation. Thank you, Seth. Thank you, everybody. And I agree, Eric. These are the games you have to win to prove that you can be a playoff team. And right now, we're not winning them. So with all that being said, we're going to wrap this one up. Love everybody in here. Love the conversation. I love what Jordan's saying as well about the absence of Joyce and Stevenson. Again, another reason why if everyone was healthy, you would be able to say, hey, maybe things would be a little bit different. But for now, you're still a seller at the deadline. You still have a really exciting future, and it's going to get a lot more exciting when you trade Taylor Ward for some good prospects. I really do believe that. So we're going to wrap it up. Shout out to everybody in here. Really frustrating loss, but still really interesting time for this franchise. It really, really is. So we still have a great opportunity now to, split this Mets, the last 2 of this Mets series. And then it really does come down to the next 2 weeks in these series against the Mariners and Rangers. That's still what is going to decide it. But with all that being said, take care, everybody. Back here in LA. Glad to be back in the studio with the good mic, with the good Wi-Fi, with the good vibes, even though today's loss was frustrating. But I'll be back here tomorrow, another 4:10 first pitch, which means another show around 7 p.m. And like what Larry says, win series, not winning streaks. There's still an opportunity to do that. Take care, everybody. Have a great rest of your Monday, and I'll see you back here tomorrow. Go Angels.